In this video, Professor Wilber-Combs, a leading teacher and thinker in the field of integral studies and author of The Radiance of Being and Consciousness Explained Better, sits down for a conversation with Martin Ucik about his recently released book, Integral Relationships, a Manual for Men.
Martin, what is it that led you to write a book on relationships?
Well, I moved here with my wife and children in 1995, and after we amicably separated in 2002, I started to date American women, and quite frankly, that didn't go so well. So I started to read relationship books and started a support group for singles. And after yet another woman who had sworn me her undying love left me in 2006, one morning I had this epiphany how Ken Wilber's integral model explains why there are so many singles and unhappy couples in this country. So I started to write a book and published it last year in 2010.
Well, Martin, after reading your book, I can see why it took you so long. What's changed for you after you started writing?
The women that I dated since have become my friends instead of breaking my heart. And I also have developed much more compassion for women instead of feeling frustrated and bitter.
Well, that sounds much better. So why did you write the book for men only?
Well, women read 90% of all the relationship books that are published and initiate about 70% of divorces and breakups. On the other side, men suffer much more when they're left financially and emotionally, and if they're in relationship, benefit from being in the relationship more, but frequently care less about what makes love work. And so I figured it helps both sexes the most if men get more educated about relationships, because if you think about it, it takes two people to co-create a relationship, but only one person to end it.
That makes total sense. What makes your manual so different than other relationship books?
Well, the main difference is that the book takes a developmental approach to love relationships, and at the core of it is the Wilber-Combs lattice that you and Ken develop together. So can you tell us a little bit more about how you came up with that?
We were interested in the fact that people have a variety of different kinds of experiences, but how they interpret those experiences and what they do about those experiences later depends on a lot of things, an important part of which is their own development in ways that you've outlined in the book. So a couple can come together, for example, and have a powerful, loving experience together. And yet, if they're different in these fundamental ways that you outline, they may interpret that completely differently. So how a couple deals with the various experiences they've had has a lot to do with how their own development has come along and how they work with that development. So being conscious of it, I would think, would be very important.
Well, thank you so much for that, Allan. Once I realized the magnitude of the Wilber-Combs lattice, what it really means, it also enabled me to solve a problem by integrating 5 stages of sexual development and 5 stages of anima-animus complex development in a similar way, and it really became the center of my book.
So what you're saying is, if couples are at the same level of development in these crucial areas when they start out, then they have a better chance of growing together over a period of time in a good relationship.
Well, that is right, and it only takes one person in the relationship, which is usually the man, to understand the developmental aspects of a relationship and make partner choices accordingly.
Well, I can say your book provides wonderful advice for men who are interested in creating a loving co-relationship with their partners.
Well, thank you very much, Allan.
It's been my pleasure.